The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC.
Hey everyone! Get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is the Angry Chicken.
Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to Demon Hunter Stone. The Angry Chicken, the podcast all about Demon Hunter. Hearthstone. I'm Garrett, here as always with Jocelyn. This is it, the post Ashes of Outland launch episode of the Angry Chicken, coming to you one day later, Jocelyn, because you and I spent all day yesterday, sweating, blood, sweat, tears, all of those things. Maybe really heavy opinions about the state of the game, preparing a show, and then literally minutes before we were planning to go live, we found out that there was going to be a big round of nerfs and that any show we did was probably going to be pointless unless we knew what those nerfs were. So we made the call to push it to today, and that's here we find ourselves. How are you doing in this Outland world?
I'm doing okay. I have some thoughts and feelings. I think a lot of people have some thoughts and feelings. And overall, I've played more Hearthstone ladder than I had played in literally months because I'd been so absorbed by Battlegrounds. I don't have the same sort of ladder anxiety that I used to, I found, because I feel like my pace of climb was fast enough that I am not being as punished for losses, which is good. So I don't have my crazy ladder anxiety, but I also don't feel like the ranks are necessarily as meaningful. I just feel like I'm earning season rewards now, which depending on your view is either good or bad. So overall, I feel like I'm okay.
Fair.
And oh my God, but I have literally faced, and I know we're going to talk about this a lot, but 67% of my games have been against Demon Hunters, and man.
Only 67%, Jocelyn? What magical Christmas land are you living in?
Right?
I've had a very similar experience.
I had a warrior today, Garrett.
Ooh.
It's like the unicorn of classes now.
Today, I didn't get in a ton of games today because we did have to push it to Thursday, and Thursday I go to the Church of the Nexus on Thursday. Thursday is when I must go and disappear into the world of Heroes of the Storm, my other big Blizzard love, on top of World of Warcraft. I like Blizzard games. I don't know if you guys can tell. So I didn't get too many. Unfortunately, I have not been able to get too many post-nerf games in, and I'm trying to open up. Let's see.
Oh, okay. I was like, I am now a stats page.
I played against two druids, Jocelyn, a priest and a warlock today. Everything else was Demon Hunter. Everything yesterday was Demon Hunter, except for I saw a warrior. Warrior did beat me, and I was playing Demon Hunter. I was being a scumbag. This is
I was a scumbag for 3 games because I had the quest to play Demon Hunter in play mode. And so I did it for 3 games, and I was like, I'm not really enjoying this. It kind of, as a class, feels a little bit like Rogue, I think, and I'm just not that into it. Like, it's not you, Demon Hunter. I'm just not that into you.
Is that telling me... Let's see. If I hover over... So, you know what? Well, honestly, this week, though, I did on Monday play some ladder, so it's going to be skewed. I can't look at... Oh, yeah, it doesn't let me. So,
like your stats for, like, what are you looking for?
I'm looking at this week in Deck Tracker, and it's showing me 37% on Demon Hunter, but I did play quite a few games on Monday.
You should be able to, for your stats, you should be able to check like last 24 hours because the nerfs to Demon Hunter.
There's today. Oh. There's not last 24 hours. Today is an option, but today I didn't play that many games. I played significantly more games yesterday, so I was kind of curious like, what I went up against. But
so they actually put the patch in kind of. It's a server side thing so that all the changes are just like red, green numbers instead of actual changes to the cards, and the changes to the cards should be rolling out sometime in the next day or two. So that at that point you'll get like dust and everything else back. But yeah, I think overall I've had an enjoyable time. I don't know, like Garrett, how did your pack openings go? Because this was the first ever Hearthstone expansion that we haven't streamed together.
Oh, that's right. So we need to have a luck off.
Yes.
And we may tell one or the other to luck off. So yeah. So you are you're working until 5 o'clock now. So we can't do our day streams.
Yes, I am.
And I feel like I've been working until 5 o'clock. I've had a lot of work come in recently outside of podcasting, like stuff. So anyways, it was very difficult for us to find a time that worked for both of us, and we couldn't. So I streamed by myself, you streamed by yourself. I did very much miss our co-stream, Jocelyn, because it's weird for me opening card packs and not shouting profanity at my friend who's getting much better luck than me. Maybe I can turn it around. So first off, how many packs did you open?
So I had 145 packs. I basically had my 2 pre-orders.
Okay. I only did the 1 pre-order and then I cashed in all my gold and I ended up with 181 packs. I did the bigger pre-order. I didn't do the smaller pre-order. And then I had a lot of gold.
I had a lot of dust. I was sitting on like 10,000 dust, I think. And then I also got a lot out of my packs, even with the duplicate protection. So I ended up with like almost 20K dust, I think, when all was said and done. And I was like, I can basically craft whatever I want.
Oh, goodness gracious me.
It was great.
There's going to be a lot of, I think, critique style commentary on Hearthstone today as we get into like the effects the Demon Hunter have had on this game and this whole expansion launch and so on and so forth, yada, yada, yada. Can we take a moment before we even get into yelling at each other, depending on who was more lucky? Can we just take a moment and say that duplicate protection kicks complete and total ass? I love it. I locked out every rare in the set, I think, in my first 40 packs.
Yeah, I had most of my rares and all of my commons in my first like 30 packs, which was the first time that I even thought to maybe go and look and just see how that was progressing. Because there were a couple of the Libram cards that I was looking for specifically. And so I was like, I got 2. And then all of a sudden I got a third of the same Libram card. And I was like, wait a minute, I thought there was duplicate protection. I better go check and make sure that like this isn't bugged. Like maybe I should wait and open my packs later. And then I go to my collection. I'm like, no, I legit have all of the commons in the set now. Okay. Like duplicate protection is amazing.
Yeah, the commons were locked up like instantly. Yeah. If you had like any number of packs, you're going to have like all the commons on lockdown. And then the rares fill in really quickly. Yeah, I stopped opening packs, I think, on 3, maybe 4 separate occasions because I got a gold. And I'm like, I caught you. I knew there was going to be a bug. And then I go and look and I'm like, never mind. I have locked out the rares entirely because there were a few cards that I got 2 normals and 2 goldens. And I was like, oh, it's bugged. It's bug, everybody. And every time I checked, I'm like, nope, it's not bugged. I have everything from that rarity. So that's just awesome. So like the gold counted. I for some reason didn't expect golds to count, but there were a few occasions where I got a non-golden and a golden, and that like locked me out. And I never saw another one until I like got everything in that rarity. Or it's legendary and I haven't completed the set. And I don't ever intend to. I never complete sets. Like I've always said, I am not a budget player. I'm a player with a budget. There's an amount where I'm like, I'm done spending money on this expansion. And I had accrued a lot of gold. So this is the first expansion in a very long time where I have not done both pre-orders. I only did the big one. So anyway, so you opened 145 packs. I opened 181 packs. How many legendaries, Jocelyn, did you open in your 145 packs?
I opened 7 legendaries, which is probably my worst haul in an expansion ever. It's like legit, like right on the line of average, because you're supposed to average like 1 in 20. So I would have been 1 in 20. I did, obviously you got the first, everyone gets within the first 10 packs the guaranteed legendary. So that kind of throws the average off a little bit more. But then I got another pack from a quest and I opened it and there was a legendary in it. So if I'd opened 146 packs, I would have had 8 legendaries out of my pack opening. But,
I mean, that helps. Yeah, because the pity timer's 40 packs.
It is, yeah.
Not getting into the conversation of the guaranteed legendary in your first 10 packs of a new set. So like pity timer would have been like 3.5-ish for you for how many packs you bought. Let's tack one more on for the guaranteed 1 in 10. So 4-ish pack. Yeah, that's not a great haul.
No, it really wasn't.
I did better than you. I also opened more packs. I also opened more packs.
And I got a lot of epics. There are not a lot of epics that I have left to craft. So even though I wasn't opening legendaries, I was opening a lot of epic cards. So, and then obviously with the duplicate protection extended to epics as well, I wasn't getting duplicate epics, which are quite expensive to craft. So I did pretty well overall in my pack opening, even though I didn't open a lot of legendaries. There's a lot of really interesting epics. So I was happy with what I ended up with. I only had to craft like 3 or 4 cards and 1 or 2 legendaries, I think, in order to play the decks that I wanted to play. Honestly, the bigger pain in the butt was that I didn't realize I never actually finished Galakron's Awakening. I had a couple of, because the cards were just like, I got to the point of unlocking like the impactful cards, and then I just kind of like left it. Single player's really not been my jam lately.
I did not love Galakron's Awakening. I am not even going to come close to shaming you. I did not want to finish Galakron's Awakening, and I begrudgingly did so.
I went through, like, I finished the story, like I played the both final chapters, good and evil, to get like the story. But since you didn't have to unlock the previous week's story, I just like did chapter 4 on both sides and was like, okay, that's the end. Nice.
There's something so refreshing of a gamer not doing something because they're not interested. There's something so refreshing about that. Thank you.
So anyways, the more annoying thing was that there were a couple of cards that I wanted for Mage and Priest that were in Galakron's Awakening. So while I want to play the new expansion, I had to go back, play the stupid adventure, and then go and get back into like current Hearthstone. But that was my own fault for not realizing I hadn't completed that. So
you want to know how many legendaries I got?
How many legendaries did you get, Garrett?
I got 11. Not counting my freebie for pre-ordering, 11.
That's really good.
That's I think one of the best hauls I've had in 3 years. I think Old Gods was the last time I did better than you.
It's basically like you opened at the same rate that I did, all the way up until I ran out of packs, and then all of a sudden you started getting 1 legendary in every 10 packs. Mine
was really equally spaced out. Like, about every point where I was like, all right, I'm getting unlucky again. It was like, oh shit, legendary.
Nice. One thing I noticed I wasn't doing because normally when we stream together, there's like, you're talking to your chat, I'm talking to my chat, or like we're talking to each other or whatever, but there's like multiple voices in the call. What I found was I was like trying to like fill time, and I was answering questions from the chat room, whatever, and trying to keep my voice going. So I think I said, "Oh, legendary," like 1 time, because normally I'm being quiet and giving like whoever else is on the call with me like audio space. And then but when I get a legendary, it's worth exclaiming. But I was just, sometimes in the middle of my sentences, and I'd just be like, "Oh, I got a legendary," and I was like, oh no, wait, I have a thing I'm supposed to say now. It totally threw me off my game, Garrett, completely.
Well, I would be sorry, but I'm just not. I'm just not.
Yeah, also it didn't come up that often.
Like 3 years, I think it's been since I've had a better opening haul than one Jocelyn, previously Carney, or previously Moffat, now Carney.
I was like, wait, did I get divorced and nobody told me? Why am I previously Carney?
I'm sorry. I have news for you.
Matt?
I had a talk with Matt, and he decided
Yeah,
I
he's
was
just
more
gone.
fun to hang out with.
He went out for beers, and I should have known.
Yeah, he's in Florida now. We're gonna go play some Rocket League after this. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I could see that.
Anyways, yeah. So I'm clearly happy with my opening. I was really hoping now was going to be the time I was finally going to get a natural golden legendary. It's been a very long time since that's happened to me. I think Tess was my last natural golden legendary. Tess Greymane. So it's been a bit.
Yeah, I don't remember because I do have a bunch of golden legendaries, but now that we're getting them with pre-orders, I'm like, I don't remember which ones are ones that I opened versus which ones are ones that I, got as my bonuses.
So allow me to look.
I got a golden Liadrin and I love her.
I hate you. I will give you all my other legendaries. You know what I got? Because I'm going to look this gift horse right in the mouth and give it the finger. I got a comma. I don't give a shit about that card. I think that card is crap.
Wow, you feel so strongly about that.
A comma, you suck. You sucked in an Outland during the expansion, and I think you're a shitty Hearthstone card. You are truly broken. Actually, you're busted. Your Draenei should not be called the broken. You're the busted. Because you trash. You trash.
Poor a comma.
I don't like a comma. I didn't like him in the expansion. I don't like him in Outland, in Ashes of Outland.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I was telling the chat room the whole time. I'm like, I want a golden agent. I want a golden agent so bad. This is gonna be it. I feel it, chat room. I'm gonna finally have like a real windfall of luck, and I did, but no golden legendary. And it definitely wasn't. I had to craft the agent. So, but I mean, it is what it is. I too was sitting on a ton of dust, so I'm not complaining about that. I really do like this duplicate protection across all rarities. I think it is such a wonderful quality of life change. And also something that really like rolls around in the freedom that digital only gives you.
Yeah, and I feel like I might actually like almost want to buy more packs. I don't know, like knowing that I'm never going to waste my epics or my legendary like random openings until I have the entire collection kind of makes me want to take the chance at rolling those in my packs, if you know what I mean. Like, I know I have a smaller chance at like completing my collection, but it's like, okay, now when I open packs, I know that when that glows purple or orange, that it's going to be a new card for me, which, there's something to be said for that in terms of like pack value. And it incentivizes me a little bit more to purchase Hearthstone packs.
Totally. Like, absolutely. Also, I was seeing folks going around with like, the hot tips before a new expansion. Like, I've got Hearthstone tips for you. A lot of people were suggesting if there is a legendary you really, like, you 110% want, craft it before you start opening packs. Because then you're just going to get surprises and start filling out your collection. Like, do you have the dust or you want this card? Why not? Why not, like... Well, it's like, that's off the list. Now I can just be surprised and revel in completing my collection, which I thought was cool, especially if it's like really high end. Like you spend a lot of money in Hearthstone, you're rolling in dust, you're the type of player that actually like goes out and crafts golden legendaries. If you're at that level, craft your golden legendaries before you even start cracking packs. But like that's Jocelyn 1% style, which apparently is not 2020 Jocelyn, but.
Yeah, apparently not. I got quite a few goldens though, which I was happy about. And like I said, I did get Liadrin from the pre-order. So yeah, happy face. Overall, it was a good pack opening. I was happy with it, even if I didn't get as much legendary luck as normal.
Yeah, man, Liadrin like is my favorite. Even though Libram Paladin just getting rolled by Demon Hunters, like. I still feel so passionately about that list. Like I had fun losing.
I didn't realize I tried it. It was the first deck that I tried before I moved on to a couple of different, I tried all spell mage and priest as well, like a Highlander priest. And I realized that I had a losing win rate. I think I went like 4-6 or something with Libram Paladin, but it felt like I had been winning. And I think it was because it was the first deck that I played and I hadn't played a lot on ladder. So I was still can't lose stars at this rank when I started playing it. So I was never really punished for my losses. So it's like I just shrugged them off and didn't even think anything of it. And then I would win and I'd be like, oh, this deck is so fun. Look at all my stars. So yeah, I don't know. I have very positive thoughts around Libram Paladin, even though, yeah, it's getting its butt kicked by so many things right now.
It is like exactly the style of deck like that I fantasize about playing. I really like it. It's starting to do better. Still not one of the higher end winning decks, even post nerfs, but like we're dealing with like very little stats right now. So take everything with a grain of salt at the moment.
Especially with the nerf from yesterday. It's like, yeah. There's no stats. Things are changing too quickly.
yeah, absolutely. So anyways, before we move into the news, before we get into the meat of today's discussion, which is talking about Demon Hunter and Ashes of Outland and all of that, I want to thank those of you who are supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. I see you folks. We're getting some new patrons. It feels great right now because like you're literally helping us pay bills at a time where things are kind of crazy. So we really, really appreciate the support, everybody. If you like the show, you want to get some perks, or maybe you just want to support us, patreon.com/TAC is the way to do so. And to some of our more recent patrons, Swift, Greg Davis, and Dustin Campbell, who became a rather generous patron during my launch stream, Jocelyn, while I was cracking open packs. Dustin's like, yo, I'm going to go above the standard levels. It's not even one that's like a pre-select, and I'm going to lock that in. So Swift, Greg Davis, Dustin Campbell, thank you all very, very much for supporting us here at The Angry Chicken. And everyone else, go check it out. Patreon.com/TAC. Got some perks, access to the patron-only Discord, ad-free feed, all kinds of stuff. But let's do it. Let's get into this week's Hearthstone news, as I realize I haven't loaded up my rack in the soundboard, and here we go. Also, this slide thing I always forget about.
Good news, everyone!
Well, it was basically Demon Hunter Stone there for a 24-hour period. Demon Hunter is still very much the popular play right now, which I did expect. But right now, post-nerfs, Jocelyn, Hearthstone and how often I'm running in the Demon Hunter feels more like what I expected versus what I experienced in the first 24 hours post-launch.
Yeah, I'm still seeing a very big chunk of Demon Hunters even after the nerfs. And I think that the nerfs that they came in with were probably fair, a good like first look, but I don't think they kind of went far enough. I think that there are a lot of Demon Hunter cards that are really strong and that enable a lot of different powerful archetypes. And so when you've got so many options, it's like Demon Hunter is kind of a class that can appeal to, I guess, everyone but me. So, it's the kind of thing where, if you're an aggro player, there's a Demon Hunter for that. If you are an OTK player, there's a Demon Hunter for that. If you're a Highlander player, there's a Demon Hunter deck for that. Like, and all of them have really good win rates. Like, the only thing that isn't doing quite as well is a token Demon Hunter deck, but every other style of play you can do, and it's like way, 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 way better than everybody else's win rates.
Yeah, which bums me out because like after I got the tip from certain Blizzard employee, not going to name names, but to try token Demon Hunter at the summit, like it kicked ass. Like I was beating other Demon Hunters, having a great time. It just seemed so powerful. And now we're here, and it's like the worst archetype. I think it has a better win rate than the OTK. The OTK, I think, is a total trap that like YouTube clips and streamers are making popular, but it has a shit win rate.
It's okay. So the OTK deck is, I think, a little bit difficult to assemble your OTK, and it's also difficult to actually like play in the correct order. And if you ever have to use your spells, or if you don't get the right stuff discounted, then like if you ever have to use your stuff or it's in your hand in the wrong order, even because there's some outcast mechanics in there as well, which doesn't even 100% work as early as it used to because of some of the changes that they made. So it's the kind of thing that it's really gross and disgusting and feels bad when it happens, because it's the kind of thing that literally can happen to you as soon as Kael'thas is playable. So that's very, very, very early in the game compared to a lot of other OTK decks. So I think like that's why this one feels so bad, but it's kind of hard to assemble. You got to get lucky. I agree with you, Garrett. It's kind of like trappy, but it also like you can see it coming a mile away. So as the player that you're playing like against the Demon Hunter, it feels really bad because you know that they could kind of assemble their OTK at any point in time from kind of turn 7 onwards. So it just feels like this sense of like hopelessness in playing against them, especially if you're not playing something that's super aggressive. Like the stuff that I've been playing, the mage and the priest are not necessarily super in your face. There's a lot of like reactive cards, a lot of removal, all that kind of stuff. So you know, with them just sitting back and going, okay, you're on a 7-turn timer. Go ahead and try to kill me with your deck that's not built to do that. Oh, man, it feels bad, even if most of the time they do screw up.
Yeah, I don't know. I still like my brain just goes, it's no Patron Warrior, like in terms of its difficulty to pull off.
Oh, no, not at all. No. And there are because a lot of the core Demon Hunter cards are really strong, like it can get there with the OTK, but most of the time it doesn't even need that because that stupid priestess card that can just go die in a fire. I hate it so much.
And didn't get nerfed yet.
And didn't get touched. I'm so mad.
There's so much more coming. We know.
I know.
Continue tweaking. So, anyways, before we get like too far into the Demon Hunter weeds here, I would like to, for history's sake, give a recap to any listeners out there that missed the first 24 hours of Ashes of Atlant, or anyone who might be revisiting this in the future and want to know what an absolute hellscape this game was for 24 hours in, I think, a fun way. Some people are just like, how could they? I love this kind of stuff. I live for day one insanity like this, Jocelyn. This is one of my favorite parts of being the player of a live game.
I'm down for day one insanity. I'm not down for day one homogenization.
I'm still fine with it, but that's good. That's good because like everyone's yelling at me on Twitter, and you are the champion of the people. And I think you're all a bunch of fun haters. So anyways, if you missed it, Demon Hunters literally took over Hearthstone for basically 24 hours. They're still very popular, but following the actual launch of Ashes of Outland, it was pandemonium. HS Replay informed us that their metrics showed Demon Hunters representing slightly more than 50% of classes played in all leagues. From bronze to legend, across the board, more than 50% of the population of the player base of Hearthstone that at least reports their games to HS Replay, which is a lot. They had a lot of games logged in 24 hours. More than 50% of the player base rocking Demon Hunters. Which I would have to say, I know we say take it with a grain of salt because it's not perfect stats. It's not every game. It's just people running Deck Tracker and uploading the games. But considering the speed at which nerfs came down, I would say it's a pretty accurate representation of what the hell the ladder looked like in standard Hearthstone. Also, Demon Hunter was the only class with the win rate above 50%, according to HS Replay. We were talking to them yesterday. They're like, yeah, if you look at every class, every game that we have to look at, like not looking at specific decks or archetypes, Demon Hunter is the only one that is netting above a 50% win rate. And then yesterday, I pulled this for yesterday's show. And so to just give you an idea, the number one played list on HS Replay yesterday was Aggro Demon Hunter. It was basically what they're calling Tempo Demon Hunter now, with a 70% win rate. And like when I looked at it yesterday, I think it was slightly over 24 hours since launch, had over 25, I think, thousand games logged with a 70% win rate. Number two most played list was a Highlander Demon Hunter with a 63% win rate. Number three most played list was a Token Demon Hunter with a 46% win rate. Sorry, Token Demon Hunter. Number four most played
except
list.
for literally Token Demon Hunter at 46% was still like better than every other deck in every other class.
Yep. The number four most played list was the OTK list with a 61% win rate. And the number five most played list was another like mid-rangey Tempo Demon Hunter with a 68% win rate, which actually was the one I was playing because it seemed to perform the best against other Demon Hunters, which was the only damn thing I was seeing. And I wanted to get in on it. It's a new class. I want to play Demon Hunter. I wasn't trying to be a scumbag, but I was definitely being a scumbag. Although,
well, and I do understand the urge to play a new class, obviously. Like, this is the first time we've had a new class come into Hearthstone since the game launched. So I understand wanting to give Demon Hunter a try. And like I said, I did, but it wasn't for me, wasn't my jam, isn't my style of play. Like, there's a lot of other stuff that I wanted to play around with. And unfortunately, because it was so powerful, and I think that was a design decision, because I think the Hearthstone team wanted people to get in to try Demon Hunter and to be competitive. Like, this was always going to be a really, really difficult job to bring a new class into a game 6 years later. Like, they had a difficult task. You've got players who are mains. You've got, big, huge collections for other classes to pull from. You needed to be able to make Demon Hunter powerful, viable, and varied in order to compete with just the mind space of all the other classes. So I get that. I think they just pushed all of those things a little bit too far and then made Demon Hunter the only way to play Hearthstone, which felt bad for literally everybody who wasn't playing Demon Hunter, and even some people that were playing Demon Hunter because they felt they had to, right? So I think that I'm so glad that we got these nerfs, but I think they went a little bit too far trying to push Demon Hunter.
I mean, they definitely did. Like, hindsight is 2020, and we are hindsight nerfs within hours. Like,
yeah,
like this is the fastest we've ever seen changes come down. Like this is how ubiquitous Demon Hunter was on ladder. I saw like 2 non-Demon Hunters, and I logged like 20 games on launch day. Like, it was ridiculous. I knew it was going to be really popular. I didn't expect it to go that far, and I'm with you too, and I've been doing this defense, and also because I'm just already so exhausted by like the same take over and over again of like, how did they not see this? It's like, yo, like, we have literally logged millions of games in 48 hours.
If any of you have ever gone to HS Replay, their homepage has a live, that's just a log of the HS Replay players, which is not all of the Hearthstone games being played. If you set that to like real-time speed, you can't even read it. All of those log games are going by so quickly. Which is,
not even remotely close to what they can accomplish with their internal QA.
Exactly.
I mean, we're talking like we were in the hundreds of games played with how many people were at the summit. Like, and no one even landed on some of the broken stuff. We all pretty much agreed, like, Skull of Gul'dan seemed busted. That's the only one that stands out to me. Like, it felt like no one landed on Priestess. Priestess was kind of a sleeper, and now it seems insane that it was. But like,
I remember us talking about it, and I remember thinking it seemed strong, but I was like, I don't know enough about Demon Hunter. I don't know enough about throwing Demon Hunter into the meta to really make a decision on, like, what kind of deck would play her. Are we getting that far? Like, what does the rest of this whole, like, doing things when your hero attacks, like, how does that interact with everything? Do we just lean into that mechanic? Like, there were just so many questions around Demon Hunter as a class and how it would kind of fit into the greater puzzle that is Hearthstone, that I think that's why, I mean, anyone can look at Skull of Gul'dan and say that ish is broken. Like, card draw is something we can really wrap our heads around, and it's easy. And something like Priestess is just so out there in design that it's like, this seems so strong and broken that there must be a downside. Like, we must not be seeing something, right? Like, so
it turns
I don't
out
know.
No, it's just a good card. But
yeah, no, it's just a really good card.
Like, the counter is to let it kill your minions. Like, that's just that's not a great feeling.
And that feeling, that's kind of how I feel with the way that it was in the first day, and even somewhat more now, is that I feel like you just have to put enough health on board so that you're not taking that damage to face. But it's just like, how like, with all of and this is kind of my biggest qualm with the design of Demon Hunter right now, is that classes, at least from what we were told last year, are supposed to have strengths and weaknesses. And I'm not really sure what the Demon Hunter weakness is, because it seems to be able to do a lot of face damage. It seems to be able to clear my board pretty effectively. It's got really good card draw. it also has very powerful spells and minions and weapons and lifesteal. Healing, like
Jocelyn,
kind of like
it doesn't have discover.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
Card generation is not great for the Demon Hunter.
Yeah.
They're just exceptional at literally everything else.
Yeah. And Hemwick in the chat room is saying value generation and dealing with single target big boys. Actually, they literally have a card that's just silence. So if you've done anything other than play a super expensive, really big minion, which 9 times out of 10, you don't get that far into a game against a Demon Hunter to play something that costs 8, 9, or 10 mana, then, if it gets buffed or anything else, then Demon Hunters can just silence it away.
I'm fighting you on this one. I'm fighting you on this one because like the best deck, even during, if you can't tell everybody, I was so winded yesterday. Like I dug so deep to find something to say on the show other than Demon Hunter's broken. It's like all anyone was talking about. And I'm like, why would anyone listen to the show if all we do is, Demon Hunter's broken. Yeah, it's broken. All right, roll credits. Druid was actually doing decent. In a world where a deck had a 70% win rate, Druid was finding its footing before the nerfs. And now post-nerfs, we're seeing that it's one of the best decks to be piloting at the moment. It's a big Druid, not M-biggin, big. It's ramping and it's playing big threats. And so, Jocelyn, I would like to counter with, like, the 3 most popular Demon Hunter lists with the highest win rates don't give a shit about that silence card. They're not playing it. It's not worth the deck slot. And B, the biggest deck right now is just dropping basically big vanilla minions that they don't give a damn if you silence them. So
right.
That is
which
actually
again,
a weakness
so
of
Druid,
the
like you're kind of still proving my point though, because Druid cheats mana, right? They get big stuff out before they're supposed to. So any other class isn't able to get to that 8, 9, 10 mana big boy point.
I'll agree with you, and I will also bring it into what we're passionate about, which is Libram Paladin. I thought it was going to be Libram of Hope is the 8 mana one, because you can cheat that out, because you can discount your Librams, and suddenly you're healing for 8, you're summoning 8/8 with Taunt and Divine Shield. That should be the nuts against Demon Hunter, and yet they find ways through it. But it's because it's like one threat, and so you're suddenly you really want to draw both of those. You want to get them on a discount, and you want to get Liadrin. So it's like, it's not just 3 cards, because you want to get both those Librams out before you Liadrin, but you also want to discount them. So there's actually a lot of cards that are wrapped up in that, and I think it's why it's not so good, whereas Druid just gets to do Druid things and continually drop big threats.
Yeah.
So,
and then Demon Hunters set you back 2 mana, because that's super fun.
Again, I'm not seeing Demon Hunters play these cards. I like that.
Really?
Know that
my God. Mana burn, I feel like, has been all over the ladder today. Like, I've had every single Demon Hunter game that I've played today, I've been mana burnt at least once. I've seen the Highlander. I've seen not so much the aggro one, actually. I guess definitely Highlander, definitely the OTK deck. And then some sort of like, it's not as aggressive as it was. It's more, I would call it like a mid-rangey kind of Demon Hunter deck, but it's still killing me by turn 6 or 7. And it's definitely setting me back with that mana burn card. Like, ugh.
I've seen Mana Burn a couple times. I saw the Silence once, and I think it was my second game after the expansion launched, and I haven't seen it since. Mana Burn, I've seen conservatively. No, sorry. What's the opposite of conservatively?
Liberally?
Liberally 3 times is my liberal guess. How many times I've seen Mana Burn? But it's because there's just there's so many games logged on this one tempo list, and it's not running either of those. And that is the one I am seeing more than anything else. And weirdly enough, I've been running into the other one that is basically the tempo list, but it runs a couple of it runs the demon discount minion, the 4/4, and it runs like one of the Sightless Watcher that lets you look at 3 cards from your deck, and you pick one and it goes to the top of your deck, so you draw it next. That's the other one I'm seeing the most of, which is almost like card for card, the really popular Demon Hunter tempo list. But that's the one I was playing yesterday, like pre-nerf yesterday. It feels like a year has already gone by the way, without coronavirus, and B, Demon Hunter, which is coronavirus in Hearthstone. It's just been, That's when I've just been seeing this tempo list like more than anything else. Like, and not only am I seeing more Demon Hunter than anything else, I'm seeing this one particular list or a slight variation on it more than any other Demon Hunter list. I think I've seen like one token Demon Hunter, and I guess whoever was doing the mana burn, that's like the OTK deck, right? So I guess I ran up against a few OTK decks, and I'm pretty sure I beat every single one of them. So, but I also was scumbag tempo Demon Hunter, and I totally slotted in an acidic swamp.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Yeah, like weapons. if you're playing Demon Hunter 2, I feel like you have different feelings. It's kind of a different conversation. I think there's a lot of people trying to make the old classes work and experiment with some new stuff for their favorite, their mains or whatever. And you're just constantly getting run over and over and over again. Like, that's why I say it doesn't feel good to play only Demon Hunter.
It has already felt like a year in Hearthstone because that was my day one. Day one, I was playing other classes and not winning. And so day two, I joined the problem. And now day three, I didn't play that many games today, but I did go back to Demon Hunter because I did see it was still on top of the win rate, although significantly less insane win rate. But I'm also just enjoying the class. It's a new class. I want to play it. So it's working well for me. But anyway, we should probably get to the nerfs. I'm gonna do some moving around here in the show notes in real time, Jocelyn, because the show is already going a smidge long.
I know. I can't believe we've been talking for 40 minutes already. Like, what?
I can. It has been a couple of days.
It sure has. It sure has.
And so let's thank our first sponsor today. It's MeUndies, everybody. I know you want to hear us talk about our underwear publicly. On the record.
Mine has unicorns today.
Mine has tacos and hot sauce. Yeah. Because you got to keep it spicy. Hey, if you're unfamiliar, MeUndies makes like the most comfortable underwear on the planet, and you can get 15% off your first pair over at MeUndies.com/TAC. You'll also support us in the process. So you should go check them out. But like, oh my God, they're so freaking comfortable. And maybe you're like me before I discovered MeUndies. Maybe that elastic ain't holding up as good as it used to. Maybe there's some holes in there that you're just like, I should probably, it might be time for an update. Well, MeUndies has a membership. And why would you need one? Well, I mean, honestly, it's fun. It's really fun. It's an easy way to give your future self a present each month. Future you will thank past you because you signed up for a MeUndies membership. So a membership with MeUndies is full of perks like site-wide savings, early access, free shipping, and new ridiculously soft undies delivered to your door each month. And also building your undie collection makes your adult life just a tad easier. More undies equals less laundry. I mean, that's just science, Jocelyn. It's like drawing 3 cards and having them discounted by 3 is just good.
I think you mean amaze balls.
Busted.
Busted, yeah.
Might cause, and that's what wearing a pair of MeUndies feels like. It feels like casting Skull of Gul'dan, just being broken. So please, MeUndies, make one of your future prints a bunch of little skulls and like number 3s on it. I would really appreciate that. So go check them out, and they've got a great offer for our listeners. Any first-time purchasers out there, you're going to get 15% off and free shipping. There's also a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Like, again, I'm pretty sure like your only complaint would be, this is so comfortable, I am too relaxed. But if you still have that 100% satisfaction guarantee in case, you're concerned. So go right now, get your 15% off your first order, free shipping, 100% satisfaction guarantee over at MeUndies.com/TAC. That's MeUndies.com/TAC. And now, Jocelyn, would you like to talk about the fastest nerfs we've ever seen in the history of this game we like to call Hearthstone?
I think we should, because I mean, we talked to death almost about what it felt like to face and play Demon Hunter on ladder, and I don't know, there's just so many things that are still the same with that conversation, but also have changed. And I don't know. I can't believe that they went in and nerfed as quickly as they did. It's incredible.
It is nuts. Like that they, if I could be simultaneously surprised and not surprised, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah. I thought that they would nerf it. I thought that they would nerf it fairly quickly, but I was not expecting like literally within 24 hours, bam, nerfs.
Well, it's such a beautiful example too, I think, at least in my experience of never being able to please anybody, because I have literally seen equal amounts of people tweeting at us, at the show and me. Why couldn't they let this simmer a little bit longer? I just want to enjoy the ridiculousness of Demon Hunter. And how could they possibly have not realized how broken this is? Like, I'm seeing like equal amounts of both of those, and I'm just here going, I'm pretty happy with how this has unfolded. I'm glad that we got like 24 hours of absolute insanity, because I love looking back on this stuff. I love looking back at everyone running through the Dark Portal and Burning Crusade and crashing servers. And of course, in hindsight, we go, how could they ever have thought that putting every player in the game through the exact same door could have possibly ended in any other way? I like it. It's a cool part in the game's history. And that's how I feel about this Demon Hunter thing. I am with you. I hated ladder yesterday, Jocelyn. I did not have a great time. But the memory I have, I'm going to really enjoy looking back on and talking about and making jokes about on the show. That's why I like this type of stuff, to explain myself. So, anyways,
fair enough.
Yeah, that's my piece. So, yeah. Anyways, Ixar got on the horn right before we were going to do the show yesterday and announced that changes were coming. And also what I found interesting in this is that the expectation should be that there will be a lot of balance iteration over the next few weeks. We'll be making changes a little more frequently until we feel that Demon Hunter is in a fun, unique, and balanced state. So expect a lot more of these over multiple weeks. Honestly, feels a little bit like Battlegrounds beta. They didn't put a beta tag on this. It feels a little bit that way. I know for some people that is like a negative connotation. I'm all for it. So what actually changed? Skull of Gul'dan, I think, like public enemy number one by... This is the closest thing I have seen to like a consensus by the community is Skull of Gul'dan is a broken ass card, and it did get nerfed. The mana cost was increased by 1. It went from 5 to 6. Is anyone surprised?
No. If anything, I mean, I don't necessarily know if its mana cost was the problem. I was maybe a little bit surprised that this was what they chose to do, because I think the mana reduction that you get on the cards that it draws is a little bit more of the problem. I really thought this was going to be the first time we were going to see a rarity change to legendary, so you could only put 1 in your deck. So you can only do it once. Yeah, I think that would be a good solution as well. But yeah, I was very surprised with them just increasing the mana cost to 6, because like when you think about like Nourish, which has a little bit of flex to it, but nowhere near the same kind of value as Skull of Gul'dan, like it's 6 to draw 3/2, but it doesn't feel this crazy broken.
You don't get a discount on the back of the draw.
Because you don't get the discount on the back of the draw. Exactly. And when you're drawing 3 cards and getting the discount, that means you're getting like 9 mana off of stuff that you chose to put in your deck too, right? So sometimes you're going to hit where, you discount maybe a 1 mana card or something, but it feels like much more often you're getting some extreme value and you're able to pair up already strong minions, because I think Demon Hunter just across the board has a very strong kit. So when your stuff is at its base mana cost, very, very strong, and then you layer on a 3 mana discount on top of something that's already strong for its base mana cost, it's just like, you feel as the opponent like there's nothing that you could do. So I'm surprised that the mana reduction didn't get decreased to 2 instead of 3. I thought that would have been impactful enough, but I'm fine with them playing around with just the base mana cost of it too. I mean, yes, it does have to be outcast, but I feel like every Demon Hunter that casts it, and this might be to your point about making it legendary, Garrett, it might be that like one of their skulls happens to be able to make its way all the way to the left side of their hand, and they're able to get that outcast effect and they never have to do it again. But because they have 2 copies, they're able to manipulate their hand that way without too much of a downside. Like, I feel like outcast just is so strong and powerful. And I mean, maybe that's the part of Demon Hunter that needs to be looked at, is like making outcast like only the left side of your hand instead of the left and right. like make you play out of one side of your hand instead of being able to top deck stuff too. I don't know. I'm really not sure. I don't envy them trying to balance this.
Yeah, I think that's a little too radical. Because there's like you get your priestess far left. Well, cool. I don't get to outcast until turn 8. Like if you made it just left side,
okay.
And then it makes the right side like so much more random because it puts so much weight on the top. I realize you're angry.
I'm not like angry. I just feel like I have been beaten by stuff that's like super out of my control when I have completely optimized my deck and my play, and it doesn't feel like they've done particularly anything special to earn what they're currently doing. And I think that's the thing, is like it just doesn't feel like their stuff has a lot of downsides.
I don't disagree with anything you've said, other than making outcast left side only. Like that's just like,
literally, it just came into my head now. It's not a fully formed thought. It's just like I was like, you know what?
The forest because I stepped on a single nail while on my hike. Like,
yes,
let's calm down. I guess it's not a single nail. It's the forest. The forest is nothing but nails everywhere I step. But still, maybe we should napalm the forest. Anyway, let's also point out like this was a server side update, not like this was an update we didn't have to download. We didn't have to download anything. This is something they could do on the fly. So I would imagine there are certain limitations to what they can actually do with that type of update, right?
Yeah.
Like they had to tell us like, hey, you're not going to see these nerfs in your actual collection. It's going to be green and red text in an actual match of Hearthstone. It's the only time you're actually going to see these changes made. So... yeah, it's live now. It was supposed to go up live today, where it actually made everything white text and has apparently chat room saying it has gone up now. So cool.
Mm-hmm.
But Hachikuma's screwing with us. Damn it, Hachikuma! I'm gonna take your sword away. I'm kidding. You're a wonderful person.
So yeah, that means that the dust refunds now should be live as well, right?
Well, if Hachikuma was screwing with us, so apparently it's not live now, or it is live now. Literally can't tell. You said you were joking. Doesn't matter. I haven't been in the game because we're doing this show. So They said it was going to go up live today. Would make sense that it's live now. Whatever the case is, this came out so quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if there are some sort of limitations to the type of balance changes that they can actually make. Like maybe card text they can't mess with, but like base values of like attack, health, durability, or mana cost is something they can tweak. I don't know. It's just something that kind of crossed my mind because of the unique way that this nerf was put out into the game. But yeah, moving on from Skull of Gul'dan, I think it's a good change. I do think they could also still go further. 7 mana seems like too much. Like you could just card draw that late in a deck that wants to, or a class that wants to play as fast as this class does, seems too late. So I would like to keep it in 6, but maybe draw 1 fewer cards, or as you suggested, less mana off on the outcast trigger.
Well, both would have the same sort of effect, right? Because if you draw 2 cards, but you get 3 mana off, you're getting 6 mana off of your cards. If you're drawing 3 cards, getting 2 mana off, you're still saving 6 mana. So you're kind of like, it's the same thing. It's just you have the more like cards you draw, the more chances you have of hitting something that you want to, right? Like, and the risk is kind of spread out more, which is just better. I feel like I'm not explaining this properly, but like if you're only drawing 2 cards and you hit 1 card that was already a low cost, then it's like, oh, that feels bad. But if you're drawing 3, then you have like 2 more chances to hit a discount on something you want a big discount on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I get you. I follow.
Okay. I was like, I don't think I'm explaining this properly.
The
at
only
all,
thing I guess I would critique you is that I already agreed with you before that explanation. Is like, I don't, whatever, just make it. The mana discount is a bit much.
Yeah. So 2 cards with 3 or 3 cards with 2. I think getting a total of 6 mana off is enough. You don't need 9 mana off your powerful cards.
No.
God damn it.
You do not need a 9 mana discount. I'm sorry if you drew Twin Slice. Allow me to not weep for you.
Yeah.
That's
basically, yes.
Yo problem. Because you can still, if they're not going to make it legendary, you can still hit another Skull of Gul'dan and discount it, which...
yeah.
And then it came in with a bunch of other discounted cards. The chances that you can get rid of those cards to get Skull of Gul'dan on the Outcast is negligible at best. So there's so much to this. Anyway, we need to move on from Skull of Gul'dan. Imprisoned Antane is up next. And again, mana cost going from 5 to 6. I think this is actually really effective, like significantly more effective than Skull of Gul'dan. I like this nerf a lot. And it's because without Raging Fell Screamer, so that's 4/4 that discounts the next demon you play by 2. Without that 2 mana discount, like even without that, you could perfectly line up your Antane Awakening on turn 7, so it does 10 damage to only enemies, including face. So you could line it up to where perfectly awakens on turn 7 because all you did was play it on curve. You didn't even need to cheat it out with a Raging Fell Screamer. You can line it up on turn 7 with a Priestess of Fury. So that's 16 damage to only enemies, including face, on a single turn. That was ridiculous to me. I thought that was too perfect of a curve. With how much this class can draw, it's not that hard to pull off. So it's...
I feel like if they, like, maybe... I mean, mana changes are mana changes. They're the easiest ones, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like maybe if they just changed it so that one or both of these cards couldn't go face. So the Imprisoned one, I know that you have time to plan for that. You know that that's going to happen. So maybe that one going face is still fine. But maybe if they changed Priestess to not be able to target face, because she happens at the end of every turn, right? So her effect never goes away until you kill her. So I wonder if like her just focusing a little bit more and becoming more of like a control card, like you have to deal with her, otherwise you're going to have trouble sticking minions to the board. I just feel like that's a little bit more fun and interactive instead of just like, oh, okay, that's 16 damage hit my face. Ouch.
Or you can make it that one of these potentially hurts you and your own minions.
Sure, yeah, the 10 damage happen. Well, yeah. I just feel that like because it's enemies only and that includes face, like this just feels a little bit too powerful, especially with, like I mentioned earlier, all the removal tools that they seem to have. It's like no matter how much I try to stick some stuff to absorb some of this incoming damage on what was turn 7 now might get pushed a little bit later or might not happen. This combo might not happen as often, but anyways, they seem to be able to clear anything I put down in the path of this regardless. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's good. It needed a change, but I think maybe the targeting of face on one or both of these is more where they need to be leaning in terms of a balance, but we'll see.
Yeah. I again would lean that damage being potentially detrimental to yourself or your own board rather than just getting rid of face damage entirely. Because it's like demons, like over in Warlock, they're getting hit by their own damn demons all the time. Why do the demon hunters get like the friendliest demons on the planet?
Yeah,
I mean, I get it.
They're part demon, maybe they speak demon. I don't know, but then like you'd think the demons were like, you absorbed my brother. Arg.
Listen,
like,
I speak English, and there's plenty of English speakers that want to punch me in the face. Okay, like the shared language
I don't
is
know.
Anyway,
because they're definitely both like from a lore perspective, and I promise this won't be a big tangent, but from a lore perspective,
I'm starting my timer now.
both demon hunters and warlocks, it is very much like a subjugating demons type relationship. So you would think that anything that demons do to warlocks, they would also do to demon hunters. So I agree with you that having some sort of like retribution against the person playing the demon, that seems to fit thematically across both classes. So I don't know why. You're right. There seems to be no, and this kind of goes back to my risk reward thing about demon hunters in general, is they don't seem to have a whole lot of downsides to the stuff that they do. Like, oh, boohoo, I have to play my cards from the left or right of my hand, but almost all my cards I'm playing have outcasts, so I get the bonuses anyways. So who cares? Like, it just, they don't seem to have a lot of downsides. And I think hurting themselves or their minions would be a lore appropriate downside.
I concur, but I'm still very happy with the Antane change because also it's still competing with Skull of Gul'dan, which is about the closest thing to a downside you could have come up with. I think before the nerfs. And also just the fact that this no longer perfectly curves into Priestess without a coin or running Raging Fell Screamer is a lot, in my opinion. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Imprisoned Antane adjusted further, much like School of Gul'dan. I-Beam is up next. The Outcast cost, just the Outcast cost was increased from 0 to 1, which just made me giggle because over in Wild, if this landed far left or far right in your opening hand, it didn't trigger Baku. Which I was like, oh, that seems like a bug you should probably fix. So now it'll be fine. Like that. This also fixes that. But also like 0 mana, like you already had Twin Slice, which with 2 copies and it essentially being Twin Spell, even though it doesn't say Twin Spell, gave you 4 0 cost freaking cards. And the copies were guaranteed to go right side. So you're getting a lot of Outcast value if you had an Altruist. You didn't also need I-Beam, which makes me really happy because like, to me, like the surprise of all of this is the surprise lethal from Altruist combos. Like when you're close to dying to the Demon Hunter and you're like, all right, I survived the Antane and the Priestess BS. I'm still alive. Down comes Altruist. They cast all their freaking Twin Slices and then they've got some I-Beams and it's just 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage. And plus they just added 4 attack to their hero because of freaking all the Twin Slices and they got through their taunt even without Kane because they did I-Beams and they're also doing 1 damage to the whole board in your face the whole time. Altruist was a total sleeper too for me. And I-Beam going to 1 is a big deal for me because it was just like one more cheap thing that helped me just go off with Altruist combos.
Yeah, I think cheap is fine. 0 is problematic. And I mean, I can't even remember when it was, but it was a few expansions ago when I was talking about this because Priest got 1. And I was like, you have to be so careful with 0 mana cards, especially if they deal damage. And this, dealing damage for 0 mana, just, oh man, it's the worst.
It's a lot. Yeah. And even outside of Altruist.
Good.
Yeah, even outside of Altruist, there was just like the ability to have removal for free. All it cost you was the card out of your hand. It was a big play for them. And 1 is still really cheap. So, and then finally Eldrachi Warblades, which I haven't seen a lot of complaint about, but this card was so powerful. The durability was decreased on these from 3 to 2. This was the 2/3 that had Lifesteal weapon. Now it's a 2 attack, 2 durability with Lifesteal. Still good. Like this.
Well, it's still good because it gives your hero attack Lifesteal. So because of all the different things that they have in order to buff their hero's attack value, they're getting that whole Lifesteal value. Like it's almost like the number of times they get to do it doesn't even really matter because the 2 durabilities, so the 2 attacks, the 2 turns with the Warblades active, you just pile on all of your attack buffing cards, swing with it, and no matter what I've done in the previous turns, you've just healed by 10, 12, whatever. Like you're basically back to full in 1 or 2 turns. Like they didn't need the 3rd turn, and the attack value on the weapon is almost irrelevant.
Yeah. And the most popular list right now is running 2 copies of Twin Slice and 2 copies of Chaos Strike. On top of Blade Dance, which I don't think, does Blade Dance trigger the Lifesteal if you have, I don't think it does. No, because it's dealing damage equal to your hero's attack.
It's your hero's attack, yeah. And it has nothing to do with your weapon,
Yeah, it doesn't matter because I'm usually at 30 because there's so much freaking Lifesteal between this weapon and I-Beam. Easy to forget that also has Lifesteal for some reason. Why does that card have Lifesteal?
I don't know, Garrett. I don't know. I can't. I'm trying so hard.
It's so strange. It's so freaking strange. Yeah, but Blade Dance is the 2 mana deal damage equal to your hero's attack to 3 random enemy minions. Which I've mostly just been using to remove the 1/1s from Umberwing from the opposing Demon Hunter. So it's
ridiculous.
It's silly. It's a little silly. But Eldrachi Warblades, even though I didn't see it being the target of a lot of concerns from the player base, I think was a big kind of offender of the power level of Demon Hunter. So I'm happy to see this. I'm really happy to see this adjusted. They're also going to be reducing the offering rates of a ton of Demon Hunter cards in Arena. That full list can be found on the official forums. I'm not going to read them all off here because it would literally sound like I was reading the phone book.
Yeah, it's basically Demon Hunter cards.
Yes. Yes. Needed to be dealt with. And then Ixar also informed us that they have another patch planned for late next week that's going to address further changes that they want to make to Constructed, Battlegrounds, and Arena. So I would expect more Demon Hunter balancing if it's looking like we're going to need it, which at the moment, again, it's been less than 24 hours since the nerf landed, but it still looks like we may need it. The most popular Demon Hunter list has been slowly falling all day on HS3 Play, but slowly. It went from 60 to 58% today, win rate. But I would still expect to see that. So interesting things going on in the world of Hearthstone with Demon Hunter. So I've definitely noticed an improvement today. Not every game.
Yeah, I noticed. I saw some people playing classes that weren't Demon Hunter like more regularly. There's still some classes that I haven't really seen at all, but I've definitely seen the number of Demon Hunters decrease slightly. I just accidentally opened up my stats for Arena, which is not a thing I've been playing. Hang on. So yeah, I'm still seeing like almost 50% of my games are against Demon Hunter, but yeah, I also saw a warrior and a priest. So yay.
Yeah. The next most class I've seen is Druid, which makes sense because they were already holding their own before the nerfs and they are doing quite well post nerfs. So that's the other one I've seen.
Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't actually seen I haven't seen Druid. So
I've seen a couple Libram Paladins. I've seen quite a few Hunters. Well, like Dragon Hunter didn't lose anything, which we'll talk about this more in a minute, but it's been some interesting things. So like kind of as much as we can in conclusion about Demon Hunter for now, for the sake of this episode, like it was a wild first 24 hours. It absolutely needed to be addressed in my opinion. And I look forward to this being a distant memory.
Yeah, I'm sorry I complain so much, you guys. I know I'm normally the bubbly happy one, but yeah.
Do not.
Demon Hunter got me shook.
You're being honest.
Yeah.
Don't apologize for giving your honest take. I would assume that's what people are here for, is our takes. You're not here for my good looks. Yeah, maybe Dawson's, but definitely not mine. But anyway, we have one more sponsor to thank today before we get into the rest of the episode, and that is Burrow. Because, well, I can't go shop for a couch right now, but even when I could, I did not like doing it. There's just something. There's something about a tucked-in shirt and a tie with no jacket that just is so off-putting to me, and which is why I would really like Casters and Hearthstone to stop doing it, because you look like a low-rent waiter or a couch salesman. I can say that because like my first 4 jobs was as a low-rent waiter.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I know you're gonna come up to me and ask me if I want to open a credit card today. I'm not interested. It's a pain. And Burrow, and you can check out their wonderful sofas over at burrow.com/TAC. And you're also going to get $75 off for your trouble. You just get to do your whole couch shopping and customizing experience online. It's so cool, Joss. I don't have to put on pants. I don't have to talk to a person face to face and get like bullied into getting the couch I don't really care about, but it's like a thing you need. I want to be comfortable when I'm home watching TV. Burrow gets rid of all that. And also, it's not the exact couch I want. The chase is on the wrong side. It's not quite as many pieces as I want to fill out the wall that it's going against. It's just like customization heaven. It almost feels like drawing 3 cards and getting a 3-mana discount.
Is that just literally like your go-to phrase now whenever something just feels real good?
For today's episode, yes.
Yeah, no, and I absolutely love that not only like Garrett mentioned you can customize them, but on top of that, they're easy to assemble. You can put them together and take them apart really, really easily without a whole bunch of tools. And guys, this isn't like IKEA furniture stuff with like all the little bits and pieces. It's like snip, snap, boom, couch done.
This is furniture when you're like ready to buy furniture, when you're ready to choose your furniture. When when you're done with like hand-me-down college furniture, like it's like, okay, I am ready to take agency over what my butt rests on when I'm binging the Tiger King or losing the Demon Hunter. That's what Burrow couches are for. So go check them out. Different styles, different fabrics. You can even like customize the feet on the couch. It's great. You want ottoman, you want a chase, you want both. You can do that. Go check them out. If you haven't checked them out yet, go do it. And use our link for $75 off your purchase and free 1 week shipping. Go to burrow.com/TAC. That's BURROW.com/TAC. And you're going to get yourself $75 off at Burrow. We thank them for their support. We thank you for going out there and supporting the companies that support the Angry Chicken. So go check them out. And now let's move on with the Hearthstone news because we ain't done with it yet. I did add a section yesterday called Blizzard Responses, which I was like, oh, they're being weirdly quiet. And then like the nerfs got announced. But there's been another thing, which is Zephyrus has been a little on the fritz since Ashes of Outland has has released. And Celestalon has been on the case saying that they're definitely aware and reading all of the reports about Zephyrus, in Celestalon's words, misbehaving, which I love the thought of a misbehaving genie.
It kind of makes me think like Celestalon treats Zephyrus like his baby. And at first it was a baby and now it's kind of grown through the toddler phase. And now it feels like it's like an acting out teenager.
Whatever, Dad.
Like, Zephyrus, you cut it out. You come home now and you behave.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they're in the process of investigating. Apparently there's been some issues ever since 17.0. And they're going to keep us up to date as they go. Celestalon did point out specifically one major issue that they've identified is that Zephyrus will miss lethal from direct damage spells if you have minions that can attack into a taunt plus lifesteal, which is such an extremely specific scenario, but they're working on a fix as we speak. So that one has been called out by Celestalon. If you're not already following Celestalon on Twitter, if you're even remotely interested in Zephyrus, you should definitely be following Celestalon, and also just Hearthstone in general. You should be following Celestalon. He's a fantastic follow and usually hangs out in the chat. So we're big Celestalon fans here on The Angry Chicken because he taught me how to say Mashiffin.
You mean Mushifin?
I can't really scold you for that one because that's also a really fun word, saying Mushifin.
Mushifin.
That's what I order every time I go to the local sushi joint. Now, I would like some smelt roe and some mushifin. That would be fantastic. Please and thank you. No, Vigil, I will not say mushifin 5 times fast. You can the next time you come on the show. We'll hold you to it. Don't worry. And then I wanted to talk about what's going on with anything other than Demon Hunter to get a little use out of the research from yesterday, which we've already mentioned Druid many, many times. If you're even a little bit interested in Druid, it certainly seems like the time is now. Druid was, as I mentioned, already doing well in a world where Demon Hunter was having upwards of a 70% win rate, and now it's doing even better post nerfs. It's currently, I'm going to just switch on over to the HS replay right now. The most popular, go back. The most popular, oh my God, work with me here. Reset filters. The most popular Big Druid list with over 4,000 games logged, and this is filtering since the balance patch, is tied with the most popular Tempo Demon Hunter list at a 58% win rate. That's great.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, and again, this is a big Druid, not an Embiggen Druid. So this is not running Embiggen. And it is running some new cards, but none of them are legendary or epics. There are legendaries, but it's Alexstrasza and Frizz Kindle Roost. I don't have Frizz, but I would assume a lot of our listeners do.
That's a dragon card, right?
Yeah, Frizz is the reduce the cost of dragons in your deck by 2. This was from Descent of Dragons. But the new cards it's running are things like Iron Bark, and the new Bog Beam is really popular. And there was a new...
I'm glad because they've got a lot of the
Overgrowth.
like fungal overgrowth. Yeah, they've got a lot of like the Zangarmarsh like fungal type cards. And I got a lot of those in Golden and also really, really like the Zangarmarsh art. So I would be totally down with playing this deck.
That's a zone I have a lot of nostalgia for, even though it was the first zone I got sick of because it was just like, I don't know, right after Hellfires, I was like, here we go again. But like now I love it. I miss Zangarmarsh a lot. So Big Druid doing very well. decent amount of games played if you're the type that likes stats. So I actually trust the stats. They're doing well, and they were already doing well. Hunter, as I mentioned, Dragon Hunter didn't lose jack. Like the Dragon Hunter list we were playing before Ashes of Outland and before the standard rotation, still playable. Every single card in that list. Good to go. And I actually, on my stream, Joss, I played a few games as Demon Hunter, and then I was like looking on Nature's Replay. Oh, and I also played some Libram Paladin games, and I looked at Nature's Replay. I'm like, Dragon Hunter didn't lose anything. I also noticed that my deck list didn't have vines around it. And then I looked online. I'm like, looks like it's kind of doing okay with the extremely limited numbers that of stats were available at the time. And I'd like won 3 games in a row. I got on a win streak with normal Dragon Hunter.
I actually haven't seen any Hunter yet this entire expansion.
Yeah, I haven't since launch day. I saw a couple. I think I saw 2 on launch day and haven't seen any since. Definitely didn't see any yesterday, and definitely stopped losing games on Dragon Hunter once a popular Demon Hunter list arose. Once they had kind of figured it out, that kind of fell out. But if you're a Dragon Hunter fan, that could still work. Face Hunter was doing terribly before the nerfs and is now getting back to where we would expect it to be with a really solid win rate post the changes. Mage. This was something I was so proud of myself for discovering when I was tinkering through stats yesterday. The free Highlander Mage deck that new and returning players got, that exact deck list had found itself over a 50% win rate before the nerfs, which I was really surprised to see. I knew it was a solid list because we had already talked about that, but that
list was the list that we were recommending a lot of people pick up if they were a new or returning player, because it had the, I think, highest dust value of all of them, but also we thought it just looked like a really decent list. And so I'm glad to see that it's actually performing where we thought it would. Highlander decks are traditionally a little bit harder to play because you only have one of every resource, but I still think that it's the best pick of the new and returning player deck options.
It checks the most commonly asked about boxes, which is, what do you think is the most competitively viable, or which one's worth the most dust?
Yeah.
Highlander Mage.
This. Yeah.
Highlander Mage is just the answer. And it's once again doing quite well. It's on the nipping at the heels of the most popular Demon Hunter deck in terms of win rate at the moment. So yeah, and also no mini mage. Early reports are looking pretty good for it.
I've been playing it now. Actually, there was a really good list from Vigil. Actually, was playing it on stream, I believe, and posted a link to his variant in our patron Discord. So if you guys aren't patrons, you should be, because there's some really cool deck lists going around right now. But the no minion mage list that he posted, I played today, and I had some really good luck specifically against Demon Hunters. It didn't perform quite as well against some of the other decks that I faced, but Demon Hunters are still the majority of what I'm facing. So it was doing pretty well for me.
I'm just curious, the most popular one is actually the most popular list at the moment. How is it faring against Demon Hunter? I haven't looked at these stats yet. It's in the green against everything except Tempo, which is the most popular list. But it is in the green against all the other variants, and 63% win rate over the OTK list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels pretty good.
Tokens?
Just having the ability to freeze your opponent's face, so with either Frostbolts or a little bit later on with the deep freezes, and then because the deep freeze spawns your water elementals, which also freeze anything that they attack. Being able to shut down that mechanic for Demon Hunter is a really effective strategy. Now, I mean, obviously, if you don't pull those spells, you don't pull those spells, but there's also a lot of random generation. I found I was able to hold on to it until later in the game and then just say, okay, enough of your stuff. You're going to be frozen now.
Yeah, which is very good against Demon Hunters.
Yeah.
It turns out they like to swing in.
Mm-hmm.
And then Paladin, I'm actually anxious to see how they have fared since the patch. Oh, thank God. Oh, I'm so glad. All right. So the non-pure Libram Paladin, not doing great. but I don't care. That's not the one I'm interested in. I'm interested in pure Libram Paladin. And while the games played are very low, so take this with an extreme grain of salt, they are over 50% win rate with the pure Libram Paladin lists. They were at like in the 30% range.
Yeah, it was bad.
Before the nerfs. 30
I think I had like 40%.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't win a single game with my list. And then I went over to HS Replay and I'm like, well, how was everyone else doing? And it was really popular, had a lot of games played, and it was like at a 36% win rate. I was like, wow, that is just... It just made me so sad because I haven't been this like pre-excited for an archetype in a really long time. But I know what I'm playing this weekend. Probably still Demon Hunter because I just want to keep pushing through Diamond. Actually, is what I want to do right now. But yeah, let's take a look at Priest. Priest is another big winner. Another list, another class that was finding success before the nerfs and is finding just more success after the nerfs is Priest. Specifically, Quest Resurrect Priest was one that caught my eye and I actually went up against a couple times, even during the Demon Hunter Insanity. And has found itself up in the realm of Demon Hunter win rates post nerfs. So
I had a lot with the other priest archetype here, actually, the Highlander priest, because it has so many cool, fun cards and so much room for a lot of things that were kind of giving me like random generation and stuff. I mean, you're running Galakron with literally no invoke cards just because it's a single target removal in and of itself, and then a value generator after that. It feels really fun. I've had a lot of luck with it. I have a positive win rate, and even though my games go long, I'm still really enjoying every game that I'm in, win or lose. So, and like I say, I've had a fairly decent win rate with it. Like I want to say I'm in the 60 to 65% win rate with it. So,
I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, if that's what you're averaging.
Yeah. The one thing that usually kills me, again, I've been looking for like Demon Hunter counter decks and with Priest, they have so much healing, and I would find like a lot of ways to like steal my opponent's stuff or like kill my opponent's stuff, but then summon it for myself, that even going up against broken Demon Hunter things, it's like I got to do some of the broken Demon Hunter things while playing a class that was fun and interesting as well.
Well, I really think, like, just from what my anecdotal experience and from looking at stats, Big Druid and like regular Resurrect Priest seem to be the biggest counters to the most popular, like the tempo Demon Hunter list right now.
I don't love the Quest Res Priest though. It's not as fun for me, but the Highlander was doing really well. So
yeah, well, I mean, if you're enjoying it and you're winning games, that's all that really matters. I mean, if you're enjoying it, that's all that really matters. But if you're like me, you're not capable of having fun if you're not winning. So
yeah, I am very, very much like you in that regard for sure. Yeah. There's also Rogue that seems to have forgotten that an expansion even happened because they were basically just playing Galakron Rogue with no changes.
Yeah, like, and they were again finding some success against Demon Hunters.
They were doing fine. Yeah,
like, and it's like well, it's Rogue, Galakron Rogue, Highlander or regular, both. Both is the answer. They're both still very popular. They're both doing well. However, there's some cool stuff happening with Secret Rogues. They're not like they're not blowing up. They're not like, you're not going to find them across the board from you in a lot of games, and you're not going to see them with a lot of games played, at least at the moment, on stats websites. But sure is interesting.
I have a list actually in the show notes, a deck code in the show notes for you guys. I don't know if it's on HS Replay, but I grabbed it from Regis's stream, and he was having a lot of fun with it. The Shadow Jeweler Hanar card can just get absolutely out of control in a super fun way. And you get to do the whole discover thing, so you're not necessarily like locked into just a whole bunch of random secrets. So he's just kind of a like self-running engine, because every time you need that first secret, although Rogue did get some really good secrets in this expansion. So you need a secret to start the chain. And after that, you're just, going over and over and over and over and over. So there's lots to pull from.
The most popular played list since the nerfs is a Highlander Galakron Rogue that runs the secret package. It's got Shadow Jeweler Hanar in it, as well as Dirty Tricks and Ambush.
I just love that Rogue has like a secret package now.
Oh, and Bamboozle. Yeah. So this is one of the ones that's going to cost you a decent amount to make if you don't already have the cards. As a matter of fact, my buddy Akama, who I wish was literally any other legendary, is in this deck. I can't wait for all of the crazy game stories.
Don't you know that Akama's great?
Yeah, I'm just not. Because Rogue is like, I have to be pretty bored with Hearthstone to start playing Rogue. It's not as low as like Warrior is on my list of classes I'm going to go play, but it's not one of my favorites. And Akama just being like stealthed all the time. I'm like, that's cool. It's not that cool. It's not a card I get that excited about. But anyways, so that's Rogue. Shaman is just like absolute shit end of the stick. It seems like, there's actually decks now. When I checked this morning, there were no stats. There's nothing.
Okay. So I think if I'm right, that Reliquary Shaman is literally named. This is the super meme deck. It's literally named after a card that isn't even a Shaman card. So Reliquary Shaman, the whole idea here is that you get a whole bunch of 1-cost spells and the Fist of Raden, which is a card from Galakron's Awakening, and it summons a legendary based on the cost of a spell that you cast. So since the only legendary minion right now at 1 cost is the Priest, the Reliquary of Souls minion, basically what you're trying to do is summon Reliquary of Souls after Reliquary of Souls and then have them die and put the primes in your deck that give you the 6/8 taunts with lifesteal that can't be targeted. It's super memey. It has a lot of card draw, but it's if you're looking for something just stupid fun, just try that Shaman deck because it's dumb. The fact that it's named after something that isn't even a Shaman card, I love it.
But you're guaranteed to get it.
You are, yeah. It's a guarantee. Yeah. So and actually that deck is kind of weird because it's just got Earth Shocks. But the one I saw again, I watched Regis streaming for all of launch day, and he was playing with like 4 or 5 1-cost spells, I think. So yeah. Super fun.
So you're just doing stuff. The Lord's work.
Yeah. Playing 1-cost spell Shaman.
Yeah. Warlock was honestly a good bet yesterday, and it's a great bet today. Another class that was like finding a way to put up a fight at least before the nerfs, and is now experiencing wonderful win rates post the nerfs. Although I think the most popular list right now, I don't believe it's running any new cards. It's just good old Galakron Control Warlock, which is what I was starting to switch to right before, literally Monday. I was starting to switch over to Galakron Control Warlock because Dragon Hunter was finally starting to fail me. But now it's new expansion, and as much as this deck will probably work for me, I don't want to play decks that don't have new cards in them.
Mm-hmm.
That's where
I fell too. I don't care if it's doing really good, but if it's got no cards, I'm really not interested. And there was also a zoo variant, and I don't have a deck list for this one, but I came up against it a couple times on ladder, and I was like, wow, what are you doing other than wrecking my face? So yeah, I don't know what exactly it looked like, or if it has new cards, but yeah, there's zoo running around out there too still. And then finally Warrior, which is I saw 2 of today actually, but they're not doing real well.
They're not doing great, which makes me happy because I absolutely hate them.
It was time. I feel about Warrior the way that I felt about Warlock post Cube era. Like, you can just go away for a while, and if I don't see you, that'll be fine.
Yeah, it's very I feel the way about Warrior the way most people feel about Shaman. And I will be the first to admit that I'm biased because I really like Shaman. I have liked every broken Shaman deck that has ever existed. I've been a fan of all of them. And yeah, I miss my 4-mana 7/7s. So it's that's how I'm feeling. But that is kind of your 48 hours of Ashes of Outland in a nutshell, or I guess 72 hours at this point. It's been a wild ride, and it really has felt like in 3 days we went through 3 months worth of Hearthstone ebbs and flows and arcs, and overall I'm still really excited. And I know I'm
Oh yeah, I'm having a good time.
I am totally in defense of releasing Demon Hunter Strong. I prefer that line of game design. I think it would have been so much less interesting if Demon Hunter landed and it was just crap, couldn't pick up a win, and no one was playing it.
Mm-hmm.
This was definitely the opposite end of the pendulum, but if I had to pick which end of the pendulum I wanted the one we got. Because I think it's just more exciting when things are powerful, and it's going to get ironed out, and we're going to look back on this like, y'all, do you remember? Because like this feels, the last time I felt like this about anything in Hearthstone, it was beta, and we were coin scrubbing on Rogue. That's what we were doing.
Yeah, so we're creating more memories like that, and I can get behind you in terms of like that's why you like it. This will be a great memory. It just in the moment felt
not in
a
the
little
boat.
bit.
Yeah, I'm not in the boat of let's keep it like this for a little bit longer.
Yeah,
like I don't want to begrudge you. Like if that's your take, cool. Like you're probably a really fun person to hang out with. Like clearly you like fun. But yeah, like I definitely I was done with ladder yesterday very quickly. And ended up playing some Battlegrounds games because I was like, oh, I guess there's a new minion over there. I never played with it because I got Millhouse and it was just like, I'm just going to do Millhouse things. But yeah, I was personally like in my play, not having a great time. But in my overarching experience of the entire community of Hearthstone being on fire, rather enjoying it. So that was my experience. So let's meander away from Ashes of Outland for a moment because we've gotten a BlizzCon update today,
yes.
Which is they're not sure they're going to do a BlizzCon, which I find interesting because I guess it confirms that there was going to be a BlizzCon, but now they're not so certain for obvious reasons.
Well, I mean, how tinfoil hatty do you want to go? That they were never planning to do a BlizzCon this year, and then now this is a potential excuse.
Jocelyn, would you say that 9 times out of 10, I like to consider all angles of a conversation, debate, or theory?
Most times, yeah.
If
okay.
you think there wasn't going to be a BlizzCon this year, you are wrong. You are the wrongest you could possibly be.
I asked how tinfoil hatty you wanted to be.
That's not tinfoil hat. That's just science.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of good because I know a lot of people were kind of looking at the convention schedule and seeing that there was nothing on the books at the Anaheim Convention Center. If we go by patterns of previous years, it's actually kind of hard to decipher where BlizzCon might fall this year, just because of the way the calendar shakes out. So, yeah, I think a lot of people were kind of like trying to figure out if they should get hotel rooms, like what they should look at booking. And so to get an official note from Blizzard, even though it is kind of early for BlizzCon news in general, to say like everything is still up in the air. We haven't confirmed anything. Like we don't know what's going on. Like we have all the same information you guys do. And there's a chance that it might not happen, I think is really a good thing for them to do because it allows people to do things like purchase travel insurance, which is something I know I have never done in the past because I'm just like, of course I would go. Why would I not go? So, I always assume my plans are going to work out, and that's probably really stupid of me. But now knowing that there's a chance that because of all this stuff, if I do try to get cheaper, flights, hotels, whatever, by booking way ahead of time, I can say, I need to make sure that I can cancel this. And Blizzard has given me that information to say like, yeah, there's a good chance that, this might not even happen this year. So Bill Blizzard, thank you for keeping us in the loop.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. It's, I really, so just pull back the curtain real quick. Production note, listeners. Right before we recorded this, because we moved it to Thursday, I did my Heroes of the Storm show into the Nexus, and we had the same discussion because this is going to be a hot topic for Blizzard fans this week. So I'm going to talk about it on both my shows. And I mentioned there, and I think it's worth bringing up, like I would be very surprised if there was no form of BlizzCon this year. Like I think it's... Yeah,
we'll probably get virtual stuff.
Exactly. I think an entirely virtual BlizzCon, like a BlizzCon that's only put out through a virtual ticket, is extremely likely. I mean, it's something we're already used to Granted, it's free and we don't have to pay for it, from Nintendo and Sony from E3 last year, and Nintendo for many years now. If you remember, like when Nintendo was the first one to pull out of like traditional E3 press conferences, it was kind of wild at the time. And now
we get directs all the time
I love
from
Nintendo
them and
Directs.
Sony.
They're so charming. And also, like, frankly, you have a lot more control over your messaging through that means. Like,
it's all pre-edited, and you can just be like, bam, here you go.
Yeah, we're not gonna end up getting the y'all have phones, don't you moment. Like, more control over that. Like, and to me, I like that. I like the realism of it. You know, I wasn't mad about that comment. I found it hilarious, and honestly, kind of understood where it came from, considering the backlash to Immortal. But there's also something to be said about like the way Nintendo does it. Like, there's a lot of charm there. It's very well put together. The production is great. Like, so both could work. They already do BlizzCon virtually for people that don't attend in person, so it totally makes sense that there will be some form of BlizzCon. Just sadly, it probably won't involve us getting drinks in the Hilton bar and them being way too expensive. But still, it's fun.
And I think especially, I mean, I'm going to miss hanging out, which I feel like is just the weirdest statement to be making right now, because everyone is missing hanging out with everybody all the time right now. But I mean, I would definitely miss the experience, the in-person experience of BlizzCon. But I mean, there's so many, like E3's doing it this year. And then I think Gamescom is talking about going fully virtual too. So like, I don't think BlizzCon going fully virtual is that crazy out of left field. Like, I do think that that's probably the way that they're going to go. And I mean, it's maybe we just throw a big giant party for everybody somewhere when this is all over.
If you can.
Just pick a spot and like everybody go to Vegas in like summer 2021 or something. And we'll all go see each other and we'll get this all out of our systems. But yeah, for now, this seems to be the most responsible and safest response to the crisis.
Yeah, I mean, when BlizzCon usually happens, it's pretty far away. It's typically the first weekend of November. Now this year, because of the way the calendar shook out, we thought it might be like the weekend before Halloween in October, and there's all kinds of theories going around, and also looking at Anaheim Convention Center's calendar, which is public. Like, that is pretty far out. And while my optimism of COVID-19 going away anytime soon has rapidly eroded, that's still pretty damn far out. So who knows? A lot of things could change between now and then. But whatever the case is, I would expect big Blizzard announcements in the fall, whether we can go in person or not. So whatever the case, the only thing here that would bum me out is not going to hang out with my friends, not going to hang out with you, not going to hang out with Kyle, and listeners, and doing meetups and all that kind of stuff. That's the biggest bummer. And obviously, as someone who has put on very small, minuscule conferences compared to what BlizzCon is, I feel for anyone that's job is to coordinate this thing, because it has to be hell on earth right now, trying to figure out just what the hell the right call is. So, and that goes for anyone else doing conferences or any sort of event coordination right now. I am so sorry. This is insane what we're all dealing with. But I frankly am happy for our community and for video games, because y'all, we may not always agree on Twitter, but you keep me entertained and keep me sane. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. So would you, Jocelyn, like to wrap this up with an email or two?
Very much so, because my dinner is sitting right there. I can smell it, and I just want to eat it right now.
All right, we'll do one then. We'll do one, which means...
Well, they're both pretty quick.
Okay, cool. Then we'll do this.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello?
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
You can send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Sean writes in and says, "Hey, Jocelyn, Garrett, do either of you know if the Demon Hunter class is here to stay, or will it rotate out when Ashes of Helen rotates?"
I feel like this is just super wishful thinking.
I don't mean to laugh, but I'm gonna assume Sean is as serious as possible. And boy, that is just like the... As someone who is
Someone
hyper
had
aware
a
of the
bad
game,
launch day.
I don't think I'm going to go with this person. Oh, I think Sean is just serious and just was wondering since it came in with an expansion, and frankly,
Does it go out with it?
Demon Hunters Illidan extremely tied to Outland, that maybe it'll go. No, Demon Hunters here to stay. It is a permanent 10th class. That is why we have the Initiate set, and why they have said that the Initiate set will most likely rotate out, but Demon Hunter isn't rotating out.
Yeah, so they are here to stay for better or for worse, but don't despair, Sean. We have balance patches.
Stay strong,
They are
Sean.
coming. Yeah,
Stay strong.
you can do this.
I think they're gonna beat Demon Hunter down harder than Paladin under Ghost Crawler's rule.
Paladins.
And as a Paladin that still has scars to show you, I think we're all gonna be okay. We're all gonna be okay. Who's our final email today from?
This one comes to us from Hidden Jester, who asks, with the new duplicate protection and new ladder rewards, has anybody heard whether the cards check for duplicates before determining what set they drop in? For example, if I have a random rare in my chest and I open it, will it be a random rare from a list of rares I don't have two of, or does it pick a set and then check for duplicates? If the latter logic, then it could decide I'm a classic card before it notices, oh, hey, he already has 2 copies of classic rares, so I'll be a duplicate. Shorter version, if you have 2 of all rares in a set, does that mean your random rares won't ever be from that set? So I believe that the duplicate protection on the rewards works in a way that it looks at your full Hearthstone collection and fills in the blanks. So it doesn't, it won't look at set first. It just says, okay, what rares don't you have? Have a reward. Ta-da!
That would be my assumption. I honestly do not know the answer to this and haven't seen it detailed anywhere, nor had it crossed my mind. But I would assume it would just go, what don't you have? And then just randomly generate along that line.
Yes.
So, yeah. That's interesting.
As far as I know, anyways, this is the way that it works.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like starting at the old, like starting to fill in like your classic set first. And then if you don't have any missing holes, then it's going to the next set. I don't know. But yeah, it won't give you duplicates as long as you have holes in your Hearthstone collection.
Yeah.
For as far as I understand.
If they don't detail it, or if you don't get an answer to this soon, which usually when we ask things like this, we'll get an answer from someone who actually knows. I'm sure there'll be a Reddit post at the end of, or at the beginning of next month, if someone gets a dupe that they shouldn't be getting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
asking if it's some sort of a bug.
Because that is the sort of thing that goes straight to the top of Reddit and consumes conversation for a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll find out, Hidden Jester. Well, thank you for your emails, everybody. Also, if you're a patron, you can drop us questions in the patron Discord and skip the inbox entirely. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of The Angry Chicken. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. I'm going to save it for next week. I have an interview ready from the summit, but this is so darn long. I'm going to save it for next week. So tune in next week where I've got an interview with Hadija and Puffin. From the summit, that is just charming as all hell. But since this is damn near 2 hours, I think I'll tack it on to next week's episode, which should be a little more sane. I say that. Tuck it on my collar. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, keep the emails coming. TACpodcast@gmail.com. Huge thanks to our patrons. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/TAC is the best way to do so. Thank you very much, everybody, for sticking around, for becoming new patrons. And if you can't support anymore, we totally understand. So thank you for the support you've already given. We really appreciate everybody. It is really helping right now. So thank you so much. Also, huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H and Cheesy Bob. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. And the whole back catalog of the show can be found over at amove.tv. You want to go listen to us make like really wrong predictions about Witchwood? You can do that. Go check it out. All of it's over at amove.tv. YouTube.com/amovetv, by the way, will get you this show in video form. We also have amove 2, which has the whole uncut VOD. If you don't want to just see highlights, that is linked in the description of like every single damn VOD on the amove YouTube. So you can go find that there. It's also linked over at amove.tv if you go to the blog post. And you can catch us live usually Wednesdays. And at least while we're working from home at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. Usually at twitch.tv/amovetv. But Joss, when you're not doing this, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joss Plays. I did stream obviously the other night and I had a really good time. So I think as long as I am in this working from home situation that I expect to be in for probably months, I'm going to be trying to ramp up the stream a little bit more now that I don't have a commute to worry about. So yeah, go and follow on Twitch if you aren't already.
I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. This podcast and others like it can be found over at amove.tv. If you're even remotely interested in Heroes of the Storm, an update that is, I swear to God, just as insane as what just happened with Ashes of Outland. It just hit the PTR and will most likely be hitting the live game next week. So if Heroes of the Storm interests you, or if you just thought to yourself, I thought they weren't updating that game anymore. Oh man, it's insane. Go listen to Into the Nexus. It's wherever you can find podcasts, and we just put out a brand new episode covering the massive update that's going to come and change the way we play that game. So,
wow, really?
Yes, they're changing every structure in the game. They're either going to kill you more, or they may even have entirely new abilities to kill you in wild and new fascinating ways.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to look into it because I'll admit I am one of the people that fell off of Heroes a little bit. So yeah, I didn't realize they were looking at the game in that much depth anymore. I thought it was going to be kind of like, you'll get a couple of heroes a year, maybe.
Well, we will get
have a nice life.
Heroes have gone down, but balance patches and kind of more like overarching like changes to how you play, level up, get XP and stuff like that. That's a lot of those changes are happening. And it's really causing massive shifts and keeping it really interesting in my opinion. So
very cool.
Yeah. They're called anomalies. They're doing an anomaly every season. So about like every 3 to 4 months, they're doing some big change. So you can find out way more about that over at Into the Nexus. You should go listen, Jocelyn.
I will.
And if you start playing again, let me know.
I will.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks so much for hanging out. Good luck out there. Don't hate everyone that's playing a Demon Hunter. They're just excited, or they're edgelords, or maybe they're excited edgelords, and we can't judge. We can't judge, and I'm one of them. I'm gonna go put on the greatest hits of My Chemical Romance and play some Illidan games. That's what I'm gonna do. So, job's done, everybody.
Job's done.
I thought that was fun. Running a noise into the past. I'm starving. Woo! Thanks, chat. Thanks, Vigil. Illidan broke HOTS too. No, Illidan had nothing to do with it. All structures are doing 10% more damage, and they do a stacking armor debuff. And then every core in the game has special abilities that remind me of WoW bosses, and it's different depending on which battleground you're on. Every battleground has unique core abilities now.
Very cool.
Tassadar's getting a rework. He's basically a new hero. And they're nerfing Zul because he's broken. Everyone's hair looks great. Thank you, Chicxabob. Thank you. Katie cut it in the backyard with meat shears. Yeah. Those are our sharpest scissors, are the meat cutters in the wood block. So, all right. Well, I'm going to bring the stream down, everybody, because I have been podcasting for roughly 4 hours straight. I'm done talking. I'm going to go have a bourbon, and we're going to get the show up for you all. So, thank you for hanging, everybody. See you next Wednesday.
I'm going to eat my nugs.
Nuggies.